Hey, everybody. Welcome to 7 Miles North Music, Art, and Stories, a new channel me and my wife, Robbie, are starting. My name's Richard, and just going to share some stories with you right now. And kind of always been told I was kind of full of it all my life. So I thought maybe, here we go. I'll share some of that with you and start off with my father was in the military, spent all of his life, basically 24 or 5 years in the Army. And we traveled everywhere, and we had roots. And, we had our roots are in Hollis, Oklahoma. That's where my grandparents and where my mother and my dad met. And that was always kind of home base for us. And later in life, we all wound up back there and set up on our family farm there, which is 7 miles north of Hollis, and hence our this is where our title of my of our new show or new program we got going on here, and we just I thought, hey, used to tell people, how do I get to your house? Well, you go 7 miles north of the red light and a quarter west, and you found me, and so here we go. I've spent, like I said, most of my life picking up and moving with my dad, me and my sisters, and I know in my earlier years, I know I was in Fort Hood and I think Fort Benning, Georgia, but I have no recollection of that. But I do remember Altus. My dad was a National Guard advisory in Altus and in also in Lawton, Oklahoma, and that's where he wound up getting orders in about 19. I think it was early '63 when my dad got his orders to go to Germany, and he left. And then about 6 to 9 months later, me and my mother and my sisters loaded up and left and packed up our '63 Corvair and headed for the big city lights of New York City and to board our ship. And this was when they were still moving people in the military and the dependents. They were moving them by ship, and even the men would go by ship. And so we get to New York, and we had a blast on the way because Mom would let us stop, and Mom would give us a dime and a quarter, and we were able to listen to the Beatles. I Want to Hold Your Hand, and all that was just underway. Beatlemania was thick and heavy, and heck, we were going to go on our boat and go right by England, and I was pretty sure the Beatles were going to stand out there and wave at us as we went by, but that didn't happen. But we we get on the ship, and the ship was an old World War II era cargo ship that had been converted for dependents, and this thing was not a luxury liner. No, the USS Buckner. I will always remember that ship's name because that was one of the worst weeks of my life. We pull out of New York, wave at the Statue of Liberty, which was amazing, and that is an amazing thing to see, and everybody should see that. And as we went by and headed out, and it wasn't about a day or so out, and it was all pretty good. We were, going out and we'd eat, and the captain would come in the dining area and meet and greet everybody, and it was all, pretty nice. We get a message over the loudspeaker that we're going to turn farther north to try to circle a storm. Well, the circle didn't work. The storm overtook us. We were in I mean, people were thrown and had arms broken. I mean, it was bad, y'all. I'm telling you, it was really, really bad. Thank God I hadn't seen the movie The Poseidon Adventure. Or, we'd all been basket cases, but no, that didn't happen. Thank God. And about 6 days of that, of laying in your bunk and your bunk moving all the time, backwards and forwards, and I don't want to do that very much because I'll get seasick just thinking about it. But it was horrendous, horrendous. I think as a little dude, I think I lost like 7, 8 pounds in just a couple of 4 or 5 days. I mean, it was bad. You think you're going to be good now. We're going to get to Germany. We're going to get there and get to disembark off this luxury liner. And we hit the gangplank getting off the boat, and we don't ever touch ground. We go directly onto a tarmac, hit a train. And I'm talking about a 1920s old steam engine, and I mean it chugged along like slow, and we spent the night on the train. Again, I ain't never been on a train. I really had never even been on a big bus. And here we are on this train going to go. And when you don't have individual rooms, you have a little berth that you get in, and you got your little curtains that you draw, and that's basically that was your privacy. Well, that was frightening for all of us, and but we wind up and get to Germany, and love the people, love the food, love the God. They had amazing candy, man. They had great, beautiful parks, gorgeous parks. I mean, unbelievable. I mean, these people took care of really took care of their parks, and they would all get out on Sundays, and I mean, it would just be walking and the swans in the ponds. I mean, it was these huge parks on sides of hills, and I mean, it was really pretty stuff. Unbelievably gorgeous place, unbelievable. And me and my mom, we got in this the American Youth Association with AYA, I think is what it went by. Well, they had a program for that you and a parent or you and your older siblings could get on and travel and go to tour castles. And we got on a ship and went down there on a boat, not a ship, on a boat, and went down the Rhine River and go to all the castles along this along the river as far as this little boat was taking us. And fell in love with history, fell in love with old structures, castles. Oh my God, loved castles. And we went nearly every weekend through the summer where there would be a trip that we could go on, and we go to another castle. Highlight of that was when we got to go to the Frankenstein Castle, which there is a Frankenstein Castle. And no, there wasn't a monster in the basement because I was going in there. I was definitely going to check. And I did not run across any, but man, it was so moving, I guess would be more the way to put it, and to be down there, and you could, I mean, the history would just, I mean, you're talking about centuries and centuries and centuries. These people been entombed in these down here in the bottom of these castles, and you could just feel it. I mean, it was really something, and it created a love for old buildings that I've had to this day. I still ride down the road, and every time I see a closed business, and I'll think, oh my God, what happened? Where did the people go? Did their lives fall apart? I mean, I just go. That's where my mind goes, and I think about, what drove them away. What was the catastrophic? Did somebody pass? Did the business just fail? And were their lives ruined? But anyway, this is how my mind works, and even to this day, I'm always fascinated by it and love that kind of thing. And it really set off a life of adventure for me, and being there. And the times were so much different in the '60s. We didn't have a constant bombardment of the awfulness and the hatred of that we hear so much on the news, and I'm sure some of it was going on, but I think we've even got crazier as we've gotten farther on in time. But a lot simpler times then, and we had a little more freedom as kids to go on adventures that we be a little concerned about sending your kids out anymore. But yeah, when we were in Germany, we would. Once we made your friends, and we would every Saturday throw on a little pack, put on our little army belts with our little canteens and a few rations, and that we'd get out of our K rations that we would get monthly for and off we'd go, and we'd like on a Saturday we'd leave the house, 9, might be gone till about 5. We had to be home. I had to be home by 5 o'clock because in my house you sat down and eat dinner at 5 o'clock, and my dad was going to be there, and everybody needed to be at the table, and that was Dick G rule, and God bless, love my dad, and we. But anyway, we're there, and one day my mom says, "Rich, would you run down to the PX, and which is our as a government dollar store, and grab I don't remember what it was, but get some, and said on the way back I want you to stop by your coaches and find out what time your practice is tomorrow." Because we'd had some weather or something, but anyway, we hadn't been able to practice. So on the way back from the store, the next street below ours, which our military housing was, I believe there were 4 streets, and there may have been 3, but anyway, there were streets, and there were 3. Each building had 8 families in it. Some had 16. Some buildings were a little bit bigger, longer anyway. But anyway, we had these buildings, and there would each block, and there were generally 3 to 4 buildings on each side of the street. So this is where all the families of the military men would stay. And on my way down there, I walked down to the store, come back, and go into the building, and I hit the building, open up the door, and you go up about 5 or 6 steps, and then there is the first landing to the first floor, and there's apartments on both sides of the stairwell, and then you make your loop up on the stairs and head up the second. Well, I made my loop, grabbed the rail, and as I took up second step, the door opened up that I just walked by, and this woman steps out, and she is in and this is about 5, probably, no, it's probably about 3 o'clock in the afternoon, something like that. She steps out, and she is in a house coat, and she has blood running down her arms. I can see cuts on both arms, multiple cuts, blood on her house coat. I mean, I had never in my life seen anything like that. I've watched a lot of werewolf and vampire movies, the oldies. I had never seen somebody drenched in blood, and she was bleeding, and she had a butcher knife in her hand, and she said, "Come here, boy." Now, not in that tone of voice. I was frozen for a good little bit, but when she said, "Come here, boy," the fear and the run hit me, and I ran up those stairs as fast as I could, made a loop, hit the second floor where my coach and my coach's son was one of my better friends. I didn't knock, didn't ring the buzzer. I went right. Thank God the door wasn't locked. I opened the door, ran in, and I hollered, "Hey, I need help." And I mean, I didn't. I hollered it as loud as a little 10-year-old dude can holler it. And my coach come in there and his wife, and they got a hold of the military police, and the military police came, and they got the woman, and in probably about 15, 20 minutes, they got a military ambulance and got there and got her and loaded up, and we got the all clear, and I could go. And so I went back down the flight of stairs, walked by that door, and the door was open, and I do remember that. Now the door was open because I believe the military police had been coming and going out of there, and went around the military police jeeps and circled around, and I had to go back up the other direction to get back to my block. And as I went around and the jeeps, the ambulance was at the end. I turned around behind the ambulance, and when I started walking up, of course, had to look. And I looked at the ambulance. The This is a military ambulance. They didn't have doors. They had a canvas flap. I mean, if you ever watched MASH, you would know what I'm talking about. And the the flap wasn't all the way shut. And as I walked by there, I made eye contact with this lady again. And she looked right in my eyes and said, help me, please. To this day, when I bring it up, I can still see the woman's eyes. And I haven't seen eyes like that maybe a couple of times in my life, but when you do, you'll know. And you'll know that they're not there right now. I mean, they're gone. And I ran as fast as I could. I mean, I beat a path, told my mom the story, and I mean, it was like, seeing a woman with a butcher knife, with the blood all over. I mean, panic had really, really, it was frightening, and I had some dreams about it, and the eyes. I mean, those eyes, and later now, I feel for it because the woman hadn't hurt anybody but herself, and she was. It was a cry for help. I mean, she needed attention. I don't know if it was drugs, alcohol, probably not drugs too much, but probably maybe been some alcohol. I don't know. But the lady definitely was having an episode for sure. And it really, really kind of impacted me. And it took me a good long while to get over that. But that was kind of what I wanted, one of the little stories that share with you, and the thing that and how it kind of sticks with you. And I see people on the street, homeless people on the streets, and I have seen that look of despair on those people sometimes in their face, just being totally lost, forgotten, that kind of thing. And it hits a real chord. And moved me so much that later in life I've got to where I like to write, and I do write. I guess you could call me a wannabe songwriter, and through some of my the connections now that through being able to write and then go to Suno and go to Open Art and go to these different platforms that to retirees have some time on their hands, and I've been able to put a lot of my thoughts and my words that I've written over the years to music. And I wrote a song. I wrote the lyrics to that story, and it's called Crazy Eyes. And I don't want the eyes were the little lady. God bless her soul. Bless her. But those eyes, man, those eyes stuck with me for a long time. Still can see them, and occasionally. And yes, if you would, subscribe, like, if you please, and if you would look at our 7 Miles North, and look at our site, music, art, and stories, and subscribe and like, and there's a song there called Crazy Eyes, and that is the song that I wrote about the story. And I appreciate you, and me and my wife Robbie are going to try to get on this and do one of these videos maybe once or twice a week, and just really appreciate you and your support, and thank you so much for watching, and y'all have a good day. Thank you so much.